Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos. This is Pathways 12-inch finished. Here's the diagram. We have some 4 patches in the corners, flying geese on the sides, and the center is a 9-patch unit. Here are 4 blocks set block to block, and this is a 4x4 grid. We have 4 units across and 4 down. The units in each grid space will finish at 3 inches. There are 5 different patches, and each of the patches has AccuQuilt dies that will cut the shapes. Here are the cutting instructions for each different fabric. You have some choices with the 4 patches in the corners. You can cut squares and sew the 4 patches together, or you can cut 1 strip of each of the fabrics and do strip piecing. So that's with the A patch for the background and for the medium fabric. Then for the flying geese, you can cut patches and stitch the patches together, or you can use flying geese 4 at a time. I've cut my pieces with the AccuQuilt, so I'm going to be sewing the patches for the flying geese units. I will have a short tutorial showing you how to make the flying geese 4 at a time. In that case, you will cut the squares for the B patch and for the C patches. So the first thing we're going to do is take our squares and make the 4 corner units and then the center unit. Then the second thing, we'll make our flying geese units, then we'll put the block together. Here are all our patches. These are for the flying geese. These are the small squares for the 4 patches in the corner, and also some squares to make the 9-patch unit in the center of the block. So let's start with these, with the squares and rectangles. The first thing we're going to do, and this is on step 1, it has the picture, so just follow the diagram. We're going to make 4 of the 4-patch units. These will be pieced like this. Stitch these 2 together and these 2, press your seams, and then stitch the 2 rows together. So we'll have 4 of the 4-patch units. Then our 9-patch unit will be stitched together like this. And here you will stitch these units across in this row, and this row. Press those seams and then stitch the 3 rows together. Our 4 patches are done, and these are for the corner, and this is the center unit. Let's put those to the side and look at our flying geese units. Now, if you are doing patches like the AccuQuilt, these are patches from the AccuQuilt, or if you have rotary cut your triangles, your quarter square triangles and your half square triangles, these are pieced the same way. So this is how they go together. We're going to flip this over and match this bottom part and this side part. We don't worry about this middle right now. So we'll match this. For both of these, if it's rotary cut or AccuQuilt, stitch a true 1/4 inch seam here. When you do that, this is what you'll have. You open this up, and for the rotary cut, you'll have a little nub here, so just leave that for now. And then you'll press the seam open, and then you'll have this. So now you'll do your next one the same way. Flip this over, and you'll want to match the long side and this straight side here. Then you'll stitch a true 1/4 inch. And then once you open it up and press it, this is what you'll get. If you rotary cut, you'll need to cut off the nubs here and at these corners. And also, if you've cut the squares larger, these half square triangles larger, you'll need to trim down this unit to 3.5 inches by 6.5 inches. So now stay tuned for the short tutorial that shows you how to do the flying geese 4 at a time. For the small squares, which is the sky portion, the large square is the geese portion, we're going to mark a diagonal line on the back just like we did with the half square triangles. Place these right sides together in this corner, in this opposite corner. Match these two sides, and make sure this line is nice and straight. And just like we did with the half square triangles, we're going to stitch a 1/4 inch on each side of this diagonal line. But for this one, we're going to stitch an exact 1/4 inch, not a scant, an exact 1/4 inch. Now we'll cut this in half on the diagonal line. We open it up and we have two pieces that look like this. We're going to press these seams open on both of them. Now we take our remaining 2 squares, put them right sides together in this corner. Do the same thing for this one. And now we'll stitch again a true 1/4 inch on both sides of this line for both of these pieces. Now we cut both of these in half on the diagonal line, and we open it up and we have our flying geese unit. When you stitch these diagonal lines on this piece, you want to begin or end right here in this point, this 90-degree angle right here where it comes out, and right here. The reason you do this is when you fold this over and press it, this will be nice and straight, hopefully, across the top. Now press these seams open and then we'll trim them down. We're going to trim down to 4.5 inches by 2.5 inches. Because we cut the geese portion, the large square, the correct size we needed, and then we cut these squares larger, this measurement should be 4.5 inches, or really close to it. So let's check it out first. And there it is. It's really close to 4.5 inches. We just have the nubs to cut off and maybe a little bit right here. Now we want to move this up or around to 2.5 inches down here. Let's put that down. And now we check our 1/4 inch mark, and it needs to be slightly above that point. Let's see if we can move this up a little bit. So it's just right at that point, and we have 2.5 inches here. So you see there's not much to trim off. So we'll trim off the right side and the front. Now we'll flip this around, and all we need to do here is trim off the nubs. And do that to all 4 of your flying geese. Now we have our poppet board. We're going to start with the center unit. This is a 4x4 grid, as I said. This unit takes up 4 spaces in the grid. And this unit, the flying geese, takes up 2 spaces in the grid. And then the 4 patch units take up 1 space in the grid. So we put the block together like this. Now we'll stitch the top row together, the middle and the bottom, and then press the seams, then stitch the rows to each other. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and while you're at it, click the bell to be notified of future videos.